welcome to the Coaches Lounge with Barbara Beckley, myself. As I always say, I love bringing on these wonderful coaches, consultants, educators that is helping people move in their lives. I really believe that they don't get the spotlight like they should. And you have people that are coaches of all different areas, expertise that is helping you move. You have speaker coaches, you have health or wellness coaches, you have people that publish books and help you write books, which I'm going right into who I'm going to bring in right now, is that she is the queen of all queens. But before I bring this queen, I just want to just give you like a recommendation. Okay, I always got to put that out there. And I just want to say, when I bring on these wonderful coaches and consultants, and if you see something that might help you, reach out to them. And if you know somebody that might need their help in some areas, give them the information, because that's why I bring them on, so you get the relationship built just a little bit with the conversation we have. And then from that point, the next stage is to help you and to move you, into your life and what you need far as a coach or consultant. So that's a little ask. So I had to do that little plug. But before that, I want to just say, I want to thank this queen, because she's been on my stage many times, in the show many times. And I totally just admire her. I salute her all the time. She's a mentor to me. She probably going to be like, really, bro? Yes, I watch her, and she's just doing phenomenal. Some good things for people, especially making people authors and best-selling authors. So this queen name is Pastor Paulette Harper. Now, she goes by Pastor P, which I love dearly, endearing name. She's a certified business coach. She's a story coach, 5 figures visionary strategist for non-fictional authors, and awesome when it comes to giving individuals a way to becoming either their first-time author or a continuing author. And she can make you and get you to that best-selling spot. The next thing that she has coming forward, because she does a lot of anthologies and she does a lot of single books too. She's going to talk to you a little bit about that. But we're going to talk a little bit to her today about When Queens Rise anthology that's coming up. And you will get a chance while we're talking to know how you might want to be one of those authors in her wonderful book and be that first-time author, or, add to your collection of you being an author. So we're going to bring her on right now, right after this clip, because I have to bring on the queen right. Hello, Miss Lady. How you doing, Queen?
Hello, Queen Barbara. Thank you so much for having me on.
It is always a pleasure to bring the majesty of queens on the show, because you are a continuing queen that comes on that I love to bring on. And just, I always tell people visibility is the key. And if you can get with somebody that you harmonize with, that you want to help continuously and build that relationship, this is how you do it. Because we've been knowing each other for a while now, and you've been, I've been really wanting to, help bring those authors that you're helping, to display and giving them their their center stages when they're doing their books with you. And we've been through a few of them, so I'm just so proud to, be just a little bit a part of your team.
No, you're a big part of it. It's you said it, visibility is king, and it's really important that the authors have that exposure, because they have great messages, and without them being on platforms such as yours and other platforms that allow them to come on and share their message, the world isn't going to know about what this great story that they have. So no, I appreciate the platform. I appreciate the offer that you provide for me and my co-authors to come on every time we do a book launch. So kudos to you, Queen Barbara.
Thank you. And thank you. And I sometimes I feel like this is going to say it like this. Maybe I'm a good stalker because I see you doing your book and I'm like, hey, you want to get on stage, you want to come back, and I be doing that little like reminder, and I'm here for you. So I do appreciate that and appreciate what you do in people's lives, because like I said before, and I want you to get more into your next adventure, your next journey with new authors that's going to be coming to you in August, that putting pen to paper. Because I'm in a few books, and my first one, I keep remembering the first one I was in, and it was 4 years ago. I was fearful. Yeah. And I didn't even recognize how fearful I was until I started the journey of really opening up and saying, okay, I'm going to put this story that I have on paper now, and everybody's going to see it. Yeah. And I wasn't so fearful as that I didn't want to put the story out there. I was fearful that I wanted to make sure people was going to get something out of it to help them. So that's why I want to do it the right way. And then when you have coaches and mentors like yourself to walk you through it, and that's one thing that we always talk about with you, that you're like a different, like I said, you're different than the average coach, that writes the books, because you really get into it. It's like you're like our mother hen, I want to say, when you're walking through the different steps, and you look at the fact, because you understand that it's probably difficult for some people to really start that process.
Yeah, you hit it on right on the nail on the head, because people get afraid to begin to pen and write the story. And once they write it, because they have so many things to say about that particular topic, sometimes it gets kind of convoluted in the messaging. And so my job as a coach, it is really to make sure that they stay on point with their story and that they're not all over the place. Because if their story is all over the place, the reader is going to be all over the place, and that's not a good experience for the reader. And so one of the things that I do is, when before it even gets to the editing stages, I have all the authors send me their chapter, and I go through it and I provide feedback for them, and as the visionary, I have to make sure that it lines up with what the vision of the synopsis is, what the book is about, and that the story is really going by the guidelines that we've set, and that's to have an intro, to have the middle, which is the meat of the story, and then the conclusion really is the victory that comes from the story. So you take this reader on the journey. And so there are two types of visionary authors. There's a type of visionary authors who tell their co-authors, just send me your chapter and I'll see you when the book is published. There's no coaching or anything like that. And then there's a visionary author who, such as myself, I like the coach. I like the hands-on. I like to be able to teach the author how the writing style, what to look for, what to eliminate, but also what they need to hone in. And so I really love that piece of it. And then I also offer those who are struggling with writing their chapter, I offer them a one-on-one session with me, because I want to make sure that they're clear on their subject, they're clear on their topic, and that it's really going to leave the reader with, really knowing about this author, but also that the author has something that they're proud of. And so I value the coaching piece of it, and I'm really blessed to be able to offer that to any of my co-authors in any of my anthologies.
And see, that's what makes you so unique, is that, like you say, you really just say, you know what, I'm going to walk you through this. We're going to have a conversation. And I like what you said, which I've noticed in some of my anthology books that I've been in, which they need to take a lesson from you. I'm not going to say names because I don't want to get in trouble. But when you mention that you want to make sure that the chapters, like the authors that are coming to you, are lining up with your biggest theme of what you're doing in that, at the anthology. Because it doesn't make sense if you have a whole bunch of different stories and they're just stories floating around and they're not really kind of getting to your main main key purpose of what you're writing the book about.
Yeah, definitely. And so, one of the things that I found being a coach and then helping, especially first timers, and I probably shouldn't even say first timers, there are some authors who've written books before,
Mm-hmm.
but condensing a story in 1,500 words and 2,000 words is very challenging because you have this experience that you want to share and your mind just kind of goes in every direction and it's not really centered focus on that one particular subject and topic. And so what I really like to do is read the story, and then when I'm giving feedback I'm telling them, for instance, I when somebody sends me their chapter, they may have three different stories inside of one chapter, because they have a lot of stuff that they want to
You want to
say.
say, yeah.
Yeah, and so what I do is I say, no, we don't want those two. We want you to just expand on this one idea
Mm-hmm.
because you have a lot to say about this one idea. And if I'm sharing with them how to go a little bit deeper, what lessons did you learn? What do you want the readers to come away with?
Mm-hmm.
What, how did you handle that? What led you to that? How did you feel? So I ask those kind of questions because it invokes answers within them and it causes them to really dig deep within and realize, you know what, I do have something more to say about this particular topic.
And I see, I love that you asked those questions to them, because now you're pulling things out of the teachable moments that they had within those stories that they're talking about. And it helps when it's in the book for others to, when they read it, what was the whole learning experience that they got out of their story. So
Yeah.
it's just like you have your story, then after that you have, okay, let's do like, okay, what was the journey that you went through? What did you learn from it? What did you take away from it? Where you're at now, how did it help you get to that point? So that's awesome. That's when the transformation happens.
Oh my God, that's the word right there, transformation. Yes, yes, yes. It's about the transformation. Because if you're writing a story and you're really focused, you're real precise, you really know what you're writing about, and you begin to see, man, this story really has transformed my own life, because you start out the with the intro with a bang. You start out trying to pull the reader in by either asking the reader a question or making a bold statement or bringing in stats in, and then you are slowly developing the content of it by sharing your experience and how it made you feel. And then, of course, the end of the chapter is, how can it help someone else, And so when you think about that kind of concept and developing a story, then at the end of it, when they finish writing it and they go back and they read their story, it's amazing, the transformation, because they see, man, that really that looks pretty good. I wrote that, and I really love that, to be able for the author to say, man, I love that story about me. Yeah.
Mhm. It's funny how you said that, Pastor P, because I did the same thing when I did my first chapter and a few other ones I did. When I read it, when I finally read it again, it was in the book and I was reading it. I
Yeah.
was like, wow, who's that
Yeah.
woman? Or wow, she went through that and she's doing this now. It's just
Yeah.
like this amazing. It's like it's a wake up call again, all over again. That
Yeah.
you went through something and you're still standing and you're flourishing and moving forward and helping others. So that all just kind of comes to you when you read your story again. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, it really does. And it's very powerful and it's so therapeutic because a lot of times we don't know the depths of our transformation, because of the experiences we've gone through, because we're part of that. And when we read it, when we write it and we read how we've come through that and the stages and the steps that we've taken and where we are and how we're standing now, man, I didn't allow that circumstance, that situation, that adversity, that hardship, I didn't allow it to keep me, at that place. I allowed it to just really shape me and mold me, but also I learned how to, use it as a springboard to get to where I am right now. And those are the stories that we want, readers to read. Those are the kind of powerful stories that really transform the lives of readers, because they're waiting for these stories that's really going to penetrate their hearts and speak to their hearts right where they are.
Yes, definitely. And like you said, it's just it's weird because like you said, it's helping them therapeutically, right? When they start to write it on piece of paper and pen. And then when you come in and ask those questions, now there's a second level to that where they're like, wait a minute, I didn't think about that. Thank you, Pastor P, for, taking the time to ask those questions. And then the third part of it, of the whole level, is when the person reads their story and starts coming back and say, wow, when you put in your story, that really helped me because now I understand what I need, or whatever the case may be. So there's all these different levels of just of transformation after transformation after transformation.
Yeah. And I love being able to offer that service to the authors. I found that there are many authors who've written before, but I see that they still may need some help when it comes to that, because I think the word count is a challenge for people, Yeah. And so I had one author who she wrote her chapter and the word count was like 1,500 words. She sent me her chapter. It was like 3,000 words. I said, now, you got to cut it off, right? You got to cut off 1,500 words, right?
Oh, I know. She's like, no.
It was very hard. She was like, how about 2,500? I said, no, you got to cut it down, right?
How about 2,000? No. See, I laugh again because I did the same thing in one of my other collaboration books. I think I had it at 2,500 and it was supposed to be 1,000.
Oh my God.
She said, Barbara, do we need to sit for an hour so we can just start, I'm like, I don't want to take
chopping
it up.
Chopping it up.
She said, chop. And I got to the point, Pastor Peter, I was like, you know what? I was there an hour trying to figure out. I said, you know what? Forget this. Let me just take this out. This is over talking now. You can tell all of a sudden when you start really looking at it, there's some extra words in there. There's some other things that really don't make sense with what the story. So you start thinking about it, you be like, okay, come on, Barbara, get rid of that.
Yeah.
But
exactly.
it's challenging.
Yeah.
I had another one where I was in a book. They just wanted, I had to do just 500 words.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah.
That's challenging. I'm blinking my eyes on that one. Yeah, that was like, wow.
It's funny because I asked him, I said, did you say 500 or 5,000? And they say, no, 500. I was like, oh God.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, what you just say, this is what happened. This is what I learned. The end.
Exactly. Yeah, that's like that's one paragraph.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, how do I? Yeah. So again, that's challenging you to see. What that tells you to help you. Now that on a serious tip on that, it does help you to really take your story and simplify it to the point where you're saying what you have to say. You know how sometimes say less is more.
Yeah.
So sometimes less is more. Where the less you say, the more you just have to put that right then and there. You can't go around and take time. It's just like just put it out there. So there's reasons for the plus they had more people in the book, so I think that's another reason why they make it condense it. But it was just weird because like you said, you do have those challenges because you first, and I know you probably deal with the authors with this. The first step is like, okay, you need to just write a draft, just brainstorm, just write. And sometimes you're like, okay, especially if they're first timers.
Yeah.
I don't know what to write. And then when you get them to start, because I know you probably say, okay, let me ask some questions. They start and now they don't know how to stop.
Right. Yeah. It's like this faucet just turned on And they don't know how to turn the faucet off. Yes. Yes, exactly.
Pastor Pete turned on the faucet, and now you're like, okay, wait a minute. Wait, it's flooding. It's overflowing.
Yeah, exactly.
But now, Pastor Pete, when that happens, now do you basically ask them, now that you did your 3,000 or whatever, and I'm telling you to cut, do you tell them on that other part of it, or say that can be in another book or another chapter somewhere? I mean,
oh yeah, definitely. And once they, they send it to me, and I see, and because with me, the very first thing I'm going to look at when you send me your chapter is the word count. That's the first thing I'm going to look at. And if I see that you're over the word count, and if it's 10 words over, no big deal. But if we're like 200 and 300 words over, then I'm gonna send it back to you. I'm gonna say, hey, you know what, you got to cut something out. So with ones that are 1,000 words over and whatnot, then I send it back. I said, hey, you can put a lot of that in another chapter, or in your own solo book, but here we want to make sure that we are real precise on what it is that we want to say. And it really does make the author say without filters, without adding extra words, without putting unnecessary dialogue in there. It really makes the author write the meat of her story, his story.
Like they say, get to the point of it.
Get to the point of the matter. Yes.
Yeah, and that's what I've learned through being in a lot of those books, is that it taught me to get to the point. And then even helps even when you're speaking, like when you're on podcasts or whatever you're talking about it helps you say, okay, they're not going to give you all this time to talk about all that you do.
That's
so
a good point.
You need to condense it. Yeah.
That's a great point. That's a really great point. And you're absolutely right. When you're going on the talk shows, you only have, maybe 10 or 15 minutes that, especially if there's multiple authors on. So your time is very limited. So you have to really think about what bullet points that I want to make and what I want to convey, to the audience. So that's a very good point.
Yeah, definitely. So it helps in all areas. Now, Queen, I want to get to your next journey with some new authors that's coming. When Queens Rise, you have to tell me where you get. I love when you tell me your stories, where you get your themes from. So where did this one come from?
Barbara, really, when I'm thinking of another anthology, the title, I really pray about it. I really think about what it is I want to convey, what the message is for the authors and whatnot, and there's sometimes the title is a struggle for me, really, but and coming up with When Queens Rise, I thought about how many times, and even in my own life, this journey as women, what we've been on and what we've endured, and the resolve that we have, and even looking at the women that go on Facebook in my thread, and I see how powerful they are and the things that they're doing, but I'm looking at the end result of something they're achieving. I don't know their story and what got them there, and a lot of times we look at a person's end result, and we don't know their story. We don't know what trial they've gone through. We don't know the adversity, the pain, the loss. We have no idea because we've never heard of it, we never read about it. So when Queens Rise, I wanted to give a platform to queens, to our queens, and applaud them for their tenacity, for their endurance, for their resolve, for their bounce back, for the ability to just move forward in spite of. And so I believe that this book is really going to resonate with other queens who are just sitting on the sidelines wondering, what do I do with my life?
Mm.
What do I do with, because I'm here now, I need another queen to show me how to do it, And
Mm.
so when Queen Rise, stories of women rising to the top, we didn't get where we are. I mean, we're still in this process. We're still succeeding, but we're not where we used to be. And I want these stories to resonate with other women, other queens who are just, being silent. They have messages as well. And so these stories definitely are going to motivate other queens to straighten their crowns, and
Mm.
move forward and be the queens that they were created to be. And so these stories are really going to be, life transformation experiencing. They're going to be showing or sharing their experiencing, giving insight and lessons that's going to help other queens who might be struggling in those same areas, but showing them, how to go deeper, showing them how to, have that transformation, but showing them how to turn the mess of their stories into a successful stories like these queens who are going to be in this book are going to do.
Mm. Mm. Well, I had to pull it up. I want to make sure everybody sees where you're doing a call out for women to be in this particular amazing book. Already, I see that this is going to be on fire. I always call lady queens, and I always help them to straighten their crown and to make sure that it's shining and make sure that
Yeah.
they're shining in the world. And I'm glad that you put an anthology book together to really salute them
Yeah.
and really understand underneath the royalty that they have of
Yeah.
what they went to this point to get to that point.
Yeah, yeah, and it's so important because, like I said, we look at someone who is really thriving, they're successful, they're being on magazines, on other platforms, they're speaking, they're traveling all over the world, they're being connected with some great influencers. I see this on Facebook, but I also know that you wasn't born like that. There was a journey that got you here, and I want to be able to share that journey because there are so many women who are wondering, can I make it like that? Can I do that too? And what does it take? And really, I want the authors to really be authentic, to share from their hearts, to really share and be truthful about the journey, because there's nothing that we have to be ashamed about that has got us here. One of my favorite quotes is my messy story is my best story. My messed up story, yeah, of emotional trauma got me here. Now at the moment when I'm going through it, I didn't know that this was the pathway that God was going to lead me on, but I'm so grateful for that journey. I'm so grateful for all the hardship, all the heartache, all the no's, all the doors that were slammed in my face, the people
Mm.
that walked out, the people that left, the people who
Yes.
rejected me. Oh my God, thank you.
Woo.
I could say thank you, because
Just
it
thinking
got me
about it.
here. Yeah,
Yes.
just thinking about it, that it got me here. Now you don't know at the time when that is going on because you're broken, you're scarred, you have heartache and you're crying. You don't know that is the process that God wants to take you through. Yeah, God needed them. We need them to tell us no. We needed the rejection in order to get us to push. And so God allows those things to happen in our lives because God already sees where we're going. He already sees the big picture in our lives. He already sees the people that we're going to touch. He already sees the books we're going to write, the stories we're going to convey, the businesses that are going to come out of it. But getting there,
Ooh.
getting on that journey, getting there, getting on that road, getting in that process, it takes fortitude, it takes determination, it takes stamina, it takes willpower, it takes superpower, it takes everything within us to get past that, to get to where we are. And these are the powerful stories that we need to tell one another, so that the queens that are there and struggling, that they know, you know what, let me put my crown on, let me dust this mess off of me, and let me, you know, bulldoze my way through success, so I can be one of those queens that's rising to the top.
Ooh, okay. Can I say drop mic? And I'm like, I can't say nothing else after that. There's nothing else I can say. Queen, that is amazing. And everything you said, the listeners out there, I want you to let them know what date you have that you're calling in these authors, because you just explained basically what you're looking for in a person that wants to be in this book.
Yeah, you know, so there's two interest calls, one on August the 4th and August the 11th. Both of them will be at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. They could go to my Facebook page and register to get the link to go on Zoom on those days when we go live. And so I encourage those of you who have never written a book before, who have never been in an anthology before, and those of you who've been in other anthologies, and maybe you have a solo book, but maybe this part of your journey you haven't shared before, I encourage you to come along with me. Write your story, be one of the co-authors, be one of the queens that rise up and show us how you did it. We want to know how you got it done, you know? And so I just encourage you. I would really encourage those of you to come to the first session, August the 4th, because there's only 20 spots that are going to be available. And I'm just believing the Lord that the spots are going to be gone, because I know these queens are going to rise up. I know they're gonna say, you know what, I got a story. I want it to be in this book, you know. And it's so much about this transformation. One of the things that I absolutely, you know, when I'm coaching, when I'm doing anthologies, it's the author's experience. I want them to have an amazing experience when it comes to being an author, because I've seen the posts. I've talked to other first-time authors. I've talked to authors who've been in anthologies before, and they have a bad taste in their mouth because they were not with the right person. And I'm going to just say that, you know, they were not with the right visionary, you know, and so they've had a bad experience. So now they don't know how to trust someone who's really authentic, you know. And so what I did was, the post that's on my Facebook page, I put a testimonial from one of my authors, you know, just her experience of working with me, because what better way to, you know, build credibility than let somebody else tell their story, you know. And so I would just say, try me. You know what? I would just say, try me, working with me, because I kid you not, it's about the experience that I want my authors to have. You know, just really being able to just share their story, and then getting a return on their investment, you know, whether it's coaching, you know, monetary return, being exposed to other platforms. Hey, when I did the Breaking Point and we were on another show, Les Brown showed up. So you just don't know what God gonna do.
that when you told me that, Queen, I was like, OMG.
Yeah.
Amazing. Amazing.
Yeah. Well, so you just make yourself open. Yes. You give yourself permission to do it, you know, and when you give yourself permission to do it and you go through the process, then you're going to reap the rewards in it.
Yes. Yeah. Well, before we close out, I want to play a clip regarding this wonderful queen herself. And like I said, she's offering this opportunity to you, the queens out there. She's putting the call out. So, but I want you just to see a little bit of more of what she does with her business, because she is amazing. We'll be right back. you're ready to be introduced to the world with your story, contact this wonderful queen. Contact this wonderful queen. You see, I mean, this lady was on CBS, ABC, NBC. I mean, and the list goes on. I could talk about her all day. But I know we don't have that time. But just to let you know that that's why I bring her on, and she's a continuously queen that comes on under the Coaches Lounge and under the Diamond Factor Experience Network, because we believe really to help you and guide you. And I bring in the coaches and the consultants, the people that are really trying to help you, not just people that's saying they have a title. You know, everybody can have a title, but she basically proves the title. She has credibility, and she's been working with so many people with them being a first-time author, a continuous author. She says she does solo books too. I already told her, and I'm putting it out there, so now it's going to be out here that she's going to be doing one of my solo books. So that means that I'm making accountability for me. So, Queen, thank you again for coming on, the time that you've taken out to come on the show and to really, put out there, what your next journey is going to be. And just to let everybody know, once she gets the authors and they get going with their chapter and everything, I'm going to be doing some special shows to give them visibility. And then you can hear about these other authors that's going to be in this book, these other queens that are going to come and tell you their little, their stories of how they got to the top. Now, they're not going to tell you everything because you got to buy the book, but they'll give you a little snippet, just a little snippet. I can't wait. I just can't wait for that. I love talking to the authors. And, Pastor Pete, thank you so much again for just being who you are.
Thank you, Barbara. I so appreciate you, and your platform and your heart, to serve and your heart to give. So thank you so much. I appreciate our friendship, our connection. Yeah, the love. Yeah, the love. I appreciate that so much. And then the fact that, you are offering the authors before it even, we write our book, the offer to bring them on to your platform. Thank you so much for that. And this has just been a tremendous blessing for you to, extend who you are as an influencer. And thank you again.
Well, thank you, Queen. We had to see the queens come together. And when collaboration happens, I mean, it blows up into a whole awesome world-changing event. So that's why this book, I'm already going to put it out there. It's going to change lives. These authors that are going to be in your book, I'm putting it out there. I'm already seeing it. God is just pressing upon me to say this is going to be a book that's going to change so many lives, Queen. So thank you for just adhering to your mark that you have to go and do this. Like you said, we got that call. Well, this is your call to help everybody put their call out there. So appreciate you. So we will see everybody. Remember the dates again, August 4th, right?
August the 4th and August the 11th. Those are Thursday afternoon or evenings at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Okay. And I'm going to make sure that you have the information, everybody that's watching, before, because this will be, we want to make sure that you get enough time to get your schedule together if you're interested.
Yeah.
So don't make any excuses saying, well, I didn't get the dates. So I'm going to make sure you get the dates. And then, again, just be a blessing to yourself. Be a blessing to, Pastor P helping you with getting your story out there, and be a blessing to the world. And that's what it's all about. So we'll see you again at the other episode of Coaches Lounge with Barbara J. Beckley. Again, as I always say, always remember when you're a coach and you're in somebody else's life, you are helping them and tapping into their genius so they can help the world and make a change in life. Talk to you then. Bye.